Thank you, Pat. I don't have a yellow shirt on today, but I want you to notice my belt buckle here. I think this was given to me on the 50th anniversary of the company. You know, I can't tell you how to improve your campground the way that the earlier three speakers have talked to you. I thought I would just tell you a few of my thoughts as a way to give you a sense of my involvement, and I think what you can look and expect from the ownership of this company. I've been close, this company is 55 years old, and I've been close to the company for 45 years. My family has owned this company outright for 37 years. I think that in a quiet way, I'm very passionate about this company. And I think underneath that, it's really two very important aspects to this business. The first that is camping. I think camping really represents the really family togetherness. I think the very wholesome desire of people to enjoy recreation and travel, to see our great country, and to connect with other people. A campground is ultimately a very social setting. When I first got involved in the business, Darrell Booth, who was the leader of the company for a long time, described the difference between a campground and, in those days, a motel. A motel is where if you stay there, you don't make eye contact with another occupant in the motel. The campground is the opposite. It's a social place. People come there, they connect with other people. And for me, this is a very, very healthy business for that reason. I think the second is that KOA is a family. It's a system. It encourages, it supports, and it really provides a family. This gathering here is a demonstration of that. A family of individuals and of entrepreneurs who want to build and run their own business. I started my own company at the age of 30. I understand that urge and that drive. And so I want to support you. I want KOA to support you in your effort to build your own business, to really answer to yourself for your well-being. Now, today, if you're a business, you really have to understand and be cognizant on top of change. We're looking at ever-increasing speed of change. And the impact of that is really very negative on those that do not keep up with the change and stay ahead of the game. I was an analyst for great growth companies back 50 years ago. And I can tell you that half of those, these were companies that in those days were the equivalent of the Googles and the Apples of today. Half of them are gone. The other half are struggling to stay alive, to try to regain some growth. Today, you see accelerating change. Internet shopping, for example, and Amazon are totally disrupting an entire retailing industry and the whole shopping mall industry, as an example. There are many examples. Netflix, internet streaming, is beginning to negatively impact the TV broadcast business and traditional media. I can go on and on. But as I look at our business, I see that the trends that are in place really are very much helping us. Now, many of you are too young to know this, but in the old days, only the very largest hotel chains could afford to have a central reservation system. The rule of thumb was, in those days, this was at a time when perhaps our average registration revenue was $12, I don't know, $10, $12. It costs about $5 for a central reservation system to make one reservation. It involved a bank of telephone operators, long-distance telephone system, an 800 number. The total cost was about $5 to make one reservation. So Marriott could afford a system like that, but the idea that the camping business could have a central reservation system was out of the question. Toby just told us that 47% of our reservations now come in on KOA.com. Is that right? That's amazing. The internet, computing power, has made available to us. I just gave you one example, but think of campsite, running your campground. K2 about to come, where you can have differentiated inventory available so that people can directly manage the reservations. So what's happening with technology and trends, I think, are allowing small businesses tied into a system like ours to be able to run their business in a totally professional fashion as never before. So these are trends that are, that are with us, but that we must stay ahead of. We must stay on top of these things. K2 has taken us longer, but that's because we wanted to put into it all the features that we'll need looking ahead into the future. In the whole marketing area, this is a field that's changing. Before, basically what we had was the paper directory and traditional media, which was expensive because it doesn't reach as narrowly the customers that we want to reach. With digital marketing, I think this gives us additional tools to direct our message and to reach the audience that we want. So that's on running the business, if you will. But I think societal change is also with us. And I think about the story of glamping. You have these millennials, typically urban young people, many of them professionals, totally connected to their iPhones, living more and more in a virtual world. And then all of a sudden, they have this sense, this human desire to reconnect with the real world, to the outdoors, to direct contact with human beings. And they're discovering that camping, all of a sudden they realize, they think, wow, having s'mores around a campfire, as if this is something new. And I think they want to reconnect with the world. Some of the time. They're going to go back to their virtual world when they return to their urban environment. But this is a trend. And perhaps this is one of the factors that's behind what's happening to our business. If you look at how our business has developed so strongly in the last 5 years. So these are things I try to think about. I try to think about those trends that could represent dangers for us so that we can keep our eyes open, stay on top of things, and try to get ahead of them. A third point I want to tell you is that I have the benefit of having been involved with now 4 generations of management for Campgrounds of America. And each one has been better as the company has gotten better. And I can't tell you how the speed of improvement has accelerated in the last 3 to 5 years of this company. The management here has a new energy and a much greater being in touch with rapid developments which are happening in our country and in the world. And I couldn't be more proud of Pat and Toby, John, many others in our management. This is such a wonderful company to be associated with, and of which I am so proud. Behind the people here, there's a culture which I did not bring to this company, and which I am always energized by every time I go up to Montana. I don't know if it's in the waters up there, but there's a genuineness and an honesty, yet in this company, a professionalism, a kindness, a respect. You read the papers today and you scratch your heads and you wonder what's going on at some of these organizations and so forth. But with this company, I have complete confidence that this level of respect for each other, the professionalism and integrity will be there. And I feel it's my job I didn't create it, as I said, but it's my job to encourage it and to promote it and to see that it continues. Because for all that you do to be part of this family, it's really my obligation to be the steward of that and to take the responsibility to maintain that integrity in the long run. Because I firmly believe that the way to build great companies is to give it long-term consistency of support. So it was more difficult for me to speak to you 30-something years ago when we first took over the company. Here's this young guy from Wall Street, New York, where most of the people don't know what camping is. What is he doing? Is he just going to flip the company? But hopefully after 37 years, I've earned some credibility with you. And And so it's important to me that we maintain that continuity, not just as an image for you, but in reality. And so I'm not getting any younger, and as long as I'm around, I think you can count on that. But what I want to assure you is that about 10 or 12 years ago, I asked my daughter, who's run a business, been head of a board, to come on the board of KOA Inc. That's Tracy Tang Limpy sitting here. And you're the first to know when we meet, the board meets in beginning next year, I will be asking the board to name her the vice chair so as to assure this continuity of support that I think this company and you all deserve. So thank you very much.